Hello, sports fan, and welcome to the Packs for Breakfast All-Star Team. And what we're talking about here is, well, basically players that I just wanted on the team that didn't really fit on the current roster. They weren't going to fit in the starting lineup. But one of those three was going to be the DH. More likely it was going to be Bo Jackson. Doug DeCenzo, utility outfielder. It's like all three of them are outfielders. And Doug DeCenzo, what they are is they represent the three cards that I was very excited that we got in our packs. Chris and I open packs every Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, live. We open a bunch of packs of cards, and this was the 92 top set again, or Upper Deck. And I like the 92 Upper Deck cards. I really do. I think it was a good pack of cards. But these three players, we had gotten Doug DeCenzo before, but we hadn't gotten like a Bo and a Dion, I don't think. And they just didn't fit anywhere on the current roster. We were pretty set up in our outfield. So what these represent is fan favorites. These are players that I would have loved to have seen on the team. And I know what you're thinking. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things is not quite the same. It doesn't really belong, and it's the card that's even photo different than the other two cards because they have Doug DeCenzo running from first base and not really showing him at the plate or, in the outfield. Not a lot of chances to picture Doug DeCenzo. But for me, Doug DeCenzo was a fan favorite. He was a guy I rooted for. I remember when watching the Cubs games and listening to Harry Carey call him Little Dougie D. Not all the time. It was, it's not like he was always calling him Little Dougie D, but every once in a while he would. And he was just one of those scrappy players that was just a utility outfielder, not a utility infielder, as I sometimes keep saying. But the good thing is nobody remembers Doug DeCenzo, so they can't call me out on it, or haven't yet. But I'll call myself out on it. He didn't play the infield. He pitched a few times, which I remember. He has a career 0.0 ERA in 4 innings pitched. That's better than any Rockies pitcher ever. So Doug DeCenzo, if he played for the Rockies, would have been a star pitcher for us. But Doug DeCenzo was a player that, he had 5 career home runs. He batted .234 in his career. He had 49 stolen bases and 90 RBIs. He was inconsequential. He played for like 7 seasons, most of them with the Cubs, went to the Rangers. The Mets signed him, the Marlins signed him, but he got cut before either one of those, before he could make either one of those squads. He was just signed in the offseason and then cut before the season started. And then he had a few at-bats with the Padres in like 90, I think it was 98 or something like that, or 96. Doug DeCenzo was not known for popping his bat. He was not known for having a good bat. What he was is a very reliable glove. He didn't make a lot of errors. In fact, at the time, he had set the National League record for most consecutive games played without an error. Which was in the 200s or 300s or something like that. It might have been like 280. I'm not going to look it up. It's like it's been broken, I think, many times. But it was impressive at the time, and it's the reason he got to keep a job a lot of time, because he was good in the outfield, and he played all the outfield positions. He just, usually this is your 7th or 8th bat, depending on who, if you had probably Girardi, he was the 8th bat. If you had Hector Villanueva or somebody like that, maybe even Rick Wilkins would have been 7th. I think Rick Wilkins sometimes would even bat 5th or 6th when he was really hitting well. But Doug DeCenzo, fan favorite. He's one of those players that would never be on an all-star team. But I think every big sports fan has a player like that. That's just they're fans of. It doesn't matter the sport. Never great, just there. But it was one of your favorite players. For whatever reasons you rooted for him. Doug DeCenzo was 5'7", weighed 150 pounds, I think, in his career. Just a guy I rooted for. The other two guys, of course, have much bigger accolades in their careers. Deion Sanders, one of the greatest cornerbacks to ever play. As an outfielder, as a baseball player, You're looking at a 5.5 WAR, 39 career home runs, 263 batting average, 186 stolen bases, 168 RBIs. He had more stolen. There was his speed on display. But the weird part is that as fast as he was, he still wasn't an elite base stealer. Because in 2,123 at bats and you have 186 stolen bases, to me it's like Ricky Henderson probably would have had more, but he still was dangerous on the base pads. Bo Jackson on the other hand, that injury in Cincinnati derailed his career. He only played 2,393 games in his career. He had 141 home runs. He had 415 RBIs. He had 82 stolen bases for being as big as he was. Batted .250, had an 8.3 WAR. For comparison, Doug DeCenzo's WAR over his career, negative 2.1. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys that you could have put in Doug DeCenzo's place that would have been better. Not as many that could have replaced Bo Jackson when he was at his peak. Bo Jackson, of course, was known for playing for the Raiders. This is Bo with the White Sox, which definitely is not his best days. His best days, of course, were with the Royals. Him running up the wall to make a catch in the outfield and center field, him breaking the bat over his knee like it was nothing, snapping it like a twig. His football prowess, running over the Boz, running through the tunnel in Seattle. He just had some epic moments. For all that being said, though, Bo Jackson was not the best running back on his team at the time because Marcus Allen, me and a friend of mine did a video years ago on another channel because there was a Raiders fan that we work with that's a friend of ours. And he pointed out Marcus Allen. Now, we always thought Marcus Allen, fine running back. Go back and look at Marcus Allen's stats. He was one of the all-time greats. And he was in the doghouse a little bit with Al Davis, and especially when Bo was there. Bo is capable of big splashy plays. And he was powerful, and he was a fan favorite. But Bo also only would play half a season because he played baseball to its completion and then come over to football. But still, I would have loved to have seen Bo have a 10-year career in the NFL because he was fun to watch. He was really fun to watch. But Marcus Allen was probably, I don't know, if Bo would have gotten a chance to really take off, I think he could have done some special things. But I think Marcus Allen needed to be out of the backfield so they wouldn't split carries. Because I think you just need to feed one or the other. They were both incredible. But looking back at Marcus, and I'm telling you, I urge you, go back and look at Marcus Allen's career. Look at all the stuff that he did and how spectacular he actually was. And think, this guy was Marshall Faulk before Marshall Faulk. And Marshall Faulk gets a ton of accolades. And I think that Marcus Allen deserves way more credit than he gets. But Bo is amazing. Bo is still one of my all-time favorites. Had the great Bo Knows Nike commercials and campaign. Dion, of course, is still making headlines to this day as the CU head coach. Where will he go next? Will he go to Dallas? Will he go to the Raiders? It's like, I don't know. It's like, that's for other people to decide. I think he should stay at CU. He's build something here. It's like, if you're going to keep moving every 2 or 3 years, it's like, what's the point? All you're going to do is, lean heavier into this idea that it's like, you go somewhere, you go there for 2 or 3 years and then you bail, and then everybody's looking at your career going, you didn't win anything. Stay somewhere, build a program, build a legacy. Dion bounced around the NFL, he bounced around the MLB. He's bouncing around coaching. This is probably just a Dion thing to do, is to get in there, he gets bored, and then he gets out. But these players, all of them were fan favorites of mine. I had tremendous respect for Dion and Bo's athletic ability to play 2 sports. Football, for both, they were better football players than they were baseball players. And that's saying something for Bo, because Bo was really a really good baseball player, but I still think he was a better football player. Deion Sanders, an easily better football player than baseball player. Doug DeCenzo, way better baseball player than football player. But that's not saying much because he wasn't even that great at baseball. But they're all fan favorites of mine. One of them's going to be the DH. I think you know. I think you know who's going to get the nod as the starting DH, and that's All-Star for now.